Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our fourth episode of Black Health Unfiltered. My name is Dr. Hakeem Stewart, and today we have the wonderful pleasure to sit down with two amazing individuals from a well-known company around here in Ontario, at least it's budding to get to be there, that really focuses on the importance of healthcare, well, when it comes to your hair at the end of the day. They really are trying to focus on community. They really are trying to reach out and show the importance of taking care of yourself and having the education and the advocacy to be able to do it for yourself. And they're doing it to a point where they're getting to be frontline and not sitting from the back and say, hey, you should just do this and do that. So my name, as I said, is Dr. Hakeem Stewart, and we are going to talk today about the power in our crown, where we talk about legacy in every strand. And that is so important when we really think about how colonialism has shaped what we as persons of the ACD community or the Afro-Caribbean Black community when it comes to our hair and how we should really wear it when it comes to Eurocentric. Like they should be straight, should be this, should be that. But now, as you can see, is the importance of that self-image and keeping yourself together to who you are is really coming forth. And these two young individuals are really working to make sure that person's out there can have that and be proud and be prideful with it. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to the first off. Her name is Seja Reed. She is the founder and CEO of Wolata Hair, a mobile beauty platform revolutionizing access to quality, culturally informed hair care. A certified trichologist, which is great, and single mother of three. She turned resilience into innovation, building a company that serves everyone from the upper echelon clients seeking luxury on-demand beauty experiences to individuals in need through its non-profit luxury on-demand beauty experiences. Through this non-profit arm, Walter Heart. After surviving a life-altering car accident, Sage transformed her path, her pain into purpose, creating a platform that bridges beauty, wellness, and accessibility for all. Through trauma-informed services, education, and community outreach in shelters, hospitals, and schools, she continues to redefine what inclusive care looks like, blending science, advocacy, and entrepreneurship. Seja leads with empathy, impact, and intention, proving that beauty can be both a business and a form of healing. Next, we also have Asiya Jabari. Asiya is a partner at Wolata Hair, a mobile hairstyling company dedicated to making hair care accessible and convenient for all clients, including those with mobility challenges. She was also the president of Seneca's West Indian and African Association, where her focus has always been uplifting and celebrating communities, while creating spaces to educate, share knowledge, and grow together. Combining her leadership experience with ongoing business studies, Asiya brings both creativity and strategic insight to her work, passionate about building solutions that empower individuals and strengthen communities. So,
Thank you.
welcome, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
No, thank you for coming on to the show
Of
to
course.
share what is, I would say, something that really needs to be spoken about and not just left out of what we can see in social media and what everyone's talking about and what is hair care. The definition of it being true in community is so important. But before we could even get into the health of hair and what it is, I want to turn to you, Seja.
Of course.
You have an amazing bio.
Right.
Right?
I'll let my
I was going through it and I was like, I'm chewing on all these words. Everything is shocking me because I'm reading it for the first time.
Absolutely.
Right? You've been through so many things, turning it around and made it your passion, right? And was able to be co-founder of World Hair.
Absolutely.
Had that vision. So could you give me an idea, what really birthed this for you? What allowed this small spark that you had to bloom into such a beautiful?
Okay, so the small spark that you mentioned would have been me looking for an outlet to make extra money. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I had just acquired a new skill to braid my own hair, and other people were looking at me like, "Oh, girl, your hair looks amazing. Who did your hair?" I'm like, "It was me." They're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yes." They're like, "Okay, do my hair." I'm like, "Absolutely, but there's a charge." So once that happens, and I started to see the fact that there is so much emphasis on Black hair care, and the way that we invest in it, that shift a whole new movement for me. Because I also not only saw the fact that there was a money grabbing opportunity here, but I also saw that there was a neglect and a space that needed fulfillment. And I feel like that's what kind of sparked the initiative within in me and made me realize that I need to do a little bit more for my community because I understand how much black hair means when it comes to mental health.
Okay, so out of a whole lot of hair came a whole lot of heart.
Absolutely.
Tell me the birth. So you're speaking about the community first. Tell me the birth came from.
So
that
the birth of Woolada Heart came out of Woolada Hair. So Woolada Hair was just, I'm working a 9 to 5. At the time, I was involved in the transportation industry, and I was account executive at a logistics brokerage, which meant that I foreseen the movements of truckloads from day to day in their aspects. And I started to realize as much as truckloads need to go here and there every day, black women need their hair done every day. And I started to see the same demand in the field that I was working in. And that's when I said, you know what, because something that might be for another podcast was very troubling in the field that I was in, I ended up focusing a little bit more into the hair care industry just because that's a skill that I had developed and I realized that I could monetize. And once I realized that monetizing that skill would bring me a little bit further than the truck driving industry, that's what made me really put my full-fledged focus on that because this is something that I have gone to school for. I have acquired credentials for. And once I realized that there's a lot of black females out here with their hair that know what to do, and I know what to do with their hair, and I know how to serve them, and I know how to make them feel beautiful, that completely shifted. That was like a game changer for me. So I ended up going into doing hair full time. And once I went into doing hair full time, I realized that there's a lot of negligence in the hair care community when it comes to those who are not served. And when I say those who are not served, I say those who have mobility limitations, those who cannot go to their stylist every week. So circling back to what you asked, I definitely felt as though I was a light in my clients' lives and I was helping them with their own traumas that they were dealing with, not only physically with their hair, but also mentally with whatever they had going on, that I could come into their space that they, created for themselves, and I would insert myself, and I would not only be able to transform their hair, but also transform the way of thinking. And that's what really resonated with me and made me push forward to wanting to make this a little bit more than just a hair company.
That's beautiful, to be very honest. And I've had the opportunity to actually see you guys in action and
Thank you.
work with you and see the impact. And seeing you guys in action, you can't see Sage without seeing Sia.
Absolutely
right?
not.
It's like two peas in a pod. So then, like, I see it, turned into you. Like, how did you come about to really, wanted to do hair, and then, given you guys are so close together, be on this train with Sage going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually met Seja at the logistics company that we worked at. And I just remember her starting to do hair all of a sudden and coming into work so tired because she was doing hair on the side after work. And one day she was just saying how she needed some help. And I also did my own hair, but I never wanted to actually do hair. I never thought that was something I was going to do. I just had the skill and I did it for some friends and family. So when she asked me to help, I said, yeah, sure. She was doing a special at the time. She was just getting her name out, and she was doing the mobile hairstyling, where we were just going to people's houses, and it was so cheap. it was so cheap, and so I remember saying yeah, I'll come. We can do a team, and just increase the price. And from there was just nonstop. We just came together. We developed everything together. We, bounced ideas off of each other, and this thing just grew. And so we still do team specials. We still do team services. It's probably a thing we're always going to do, and we enjoy it. We work together. We have a great time. Um, People love the vibes. We're just having fun doing their hair for hours. We're just busting jokes. It's a great time. And so that's just been our story ever since.
That's a wonderful story. Like, not many times you get to work with your friend,
Yeah.
right? And some
Yeah.
people would say, "Oh, you don't mix business and friendship." And
Right.
Well, you find something that actually works.
Mm-hmm.
It's lovely. And you did mention something, and I could even say today, coming home from church,
Mm-hmm.
I had to leave a little bit early, and this lady stopped me and said, "Yeah, no, I actually post this podcast called Black Health Unfiltered, and I got to run, make sure you get it set up because you got two young ladies coming." She's like, "Oh, this lady that I follow, right? She's supposed to be on it today," and I was like,
wow.
I'm like,
Look at that.
one,
Hi to you.
like, podcast is out there, great.
Yeah.
Two, you guys already have the name. You're already established out there, right? And you said something that's very important when it comes to mental health. And you see that with in the haircare industry, right? With barbers,
Right.
with hairstylists. You guys wear two hats. You're not only a styler, you are practically a therapist.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A friend.
A friend, anything, something to
Everything.
sit down. So how do you guys prepare yourself? Because the part in our crown is not just how we wear our hair, right?
Mhm.
But it's the feeling that we have when we go out there. So like sometimes you guys are tasked with some things that could be pretty heavy, right? So how do you? And this question's for both of you, right? You guys can decide how do you
I'll go
both?
first. Yeah, go ahead.
How do you guys like maneuver in that
Yeah.
space, knowing that you're giving someone a new light, but you have to also take on a little bit of their burden for them to push forward.
So I'll go first. And I will only go first because I've had slightly more adversities than our lovely guest has had. And because of that, I feel like I am able to relate to a lot of my clients because they have adversity when it comes to their upbringing, when it comes to their current situation, when it comes to the fact that they just literally cleaned up a small space for me to be able to come in and provide the service. And when I get into their space, I become immediately impelled to not only share my story, but also let them know that they are more than their current position. Even though they're in their current position or wherever they're at in their life, the fact that you're doing the most to spend the extra dollar to get your hair done right now, and you have me within your space, I am not only going to provide a hair service to you, I'm also going to provide to you the best that I know cognitively to be able to ensure and reassure you that you are doing your best and your best has yet to come. So I show up to my client's house with no judgment. I show up there and I understand that at the end of the day, we all have different walks of life. And I also know that whatever their walk of life is, it's not up to me to judge. I know that if anyone was to walk into my life 10 years ago, they could have judged however they wanted to. And so I walk in there saying, you know what, I've been not in your shoes particularly, but I know what it's like to not be in a place that you're uncomfortable with. And when you're not uncomfortable, at least you're taking the initiative to get your hair done. Get your hair done, you start to feel a different sense of self. Once you have the different sense of self, then you can initiate those steps that you know you need to push towards to make your situation different. And that's why I connect as much as I can with my clients, let them know, like, you're not alone. Whatever struggle you're going through, just know you're not alone.
See, how do you approach that?
Yeah, so I would say I'm a pretty open-minded and laid back person. So I really don't, I would say I'm kind of the opposite. I don't take things on too much, but I do feel empathy. And so my thing is definitely staying open-minded and not having any expectations. I walk in, we don't know all the time where we're going. So that's a funny part about it is that our first time clients, we're going to them for the first time. We don't know them, never been to their homes before, and all I know is that I want to do the best job that I can do. I want them to feel comfortable with my service, and I want to be professional, and that includes me, you know, having a great relationship with my client. I want my client to feel like, yeah, we're friends in this time. I'm in your home, which is a very intimate space. You trust me to come here. You don't know me either. But I want you to know that you can trust me and that I'm here for the best reason. I want to slay your hair. I want you to know that, yes, if you got to get up and feed your baby, you can do that. I want you to know that, you know, it's carefree and easy over here. We're here for your comfort and convenience. So that's what I am, you know, going to provide. That's my mission, to provide that.
No, you continue.
Oh, I was gonna. That's just basically it. Like, we don't know what's coming, but I'm excited every time to meet new people. You know, to just make them feel great about themselves, and in turn, that actually makes me feel great. I can walk away and be like, yeah, that was a great appointment today. I'm so happy. You know,
I love that.
Yeah, and that's super great. So then you said that you give the space to people. How do you recharge from it?
That is a good question.
I'll
And
let her finish.
you know
Yes.
what? Actually, I remember a couple years ago when COVID hit, there was a thing that was going viral where it was a quick, a quick certification so that you can have these types of experiences with clients, because it's not always going to be sunflowers and rainbows. Sometimes people are in really tough situations. And so I did a quick little certification about that. But I think it's really important to just, again, like, kind of detach and just enjoy my life once that appointment is over. Just remember, you know, I have other missions to accomplish. I got other things to do, and not to internalize too much. But there are times where, you know, I thought I really would like to talk to somebody about this, and I always keep it anonymous. I don't let people know, you know, who I'm talking about. But I might say, like, oh, I know of a situation where this has happened and X, Y, and Z, just to kind of like let it out, you know. But for the most part, I just try to do the best job that I can and not take it on too much emotional stuff, even though I definitely do hear and do give my feedback and conversate and everything. Yeah.
Can I piggyback?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Absolutely, thank you. So, as my partner, who is also my best friend, who is also my other half, she is the emotionally intelligent one. She is the one who can assess things from a mile away and know exactly how to maneuver.
Yeah.
And that's the main reason why she's my best friend, because I lack that. I lack that in the sense that I become emotionally attached to every situation that is presented towards me. And sometimes that emotional attachment not only supersedes what they're going through, but it also starts to impact what I'm going through. So for me, when I have clients who are going through things, I try to relate what they're going through towards what I'm going through. And sometimes it's not the most healthy.
Yeah, it get muddy sometimes.
Yeah, it can get muddy sometimes, but I care so deeply about every person that I touch their head, every situation that I come in towards. I want to be a positive impact. I want to be, okay, I'm here, I'm in your space. I know you're not having a very good time right now. I can tell by the surroundings. I can tell by a lot of things. So I do my absolute best to make sure that I'm maintaining myself in such a way that is going to somehow be uplifting to them at the end of our appointment. And not only for them, but also for me, because I have this desire in my heart to make sure that everyone that I come into contact with, they have a good experience. So when I witness someone who is not having a great experience, and I'm just there to do their hair, I try to make sure that me doing their hair is the best experience they've had.
I like that. It gives me more perspective to the like they have a whole lot of hair. I like it. It shows that your investment is not as well you started out, right? It was not money grab. Your investment now is like I'm giving not only as a service to as a means of a living, but I'm giving a service that actually truly help people, and that's where your passion is. I mean, your passion is your work. It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
It just feels like your day to day. Right?
Absolutely.
So with all of that, I remember you said that you did trichology. You're now working with so many other different aspects of it. But let's start from the tip of the iceberg and see if we could like just chop this down bit by bit. And there's so many things that we can
We
break down.
could chop it a bit. We'll have to be here another day.
No, I mean,
and have
like,
another session with you to get down to nitty
podcast
gritty.
door is open for anybody to return. And I keep telling everyone. So
Oh, we'll be back.
you come right back. You come right back. There's so many things we could get into.
We
here,
will
right?
be back.
So let's look at black hair and the different textures that exist in black hair, right? You know, we have I don't want to make myself seem like I'm not educated about this aspect. You know, I spent my to be very serious, like my grandmother, she was a hairstylist.
Nice.
My aunt, she's a hairstylist.
Okay,
Like,
amazing.
grew up around it, right?
You're well.
Right? Yeah. I mean, did I want to be there? Yeah, no.
But
in your
here you
family.
are.
But
Here you
yeah.
are. Here we
So-
are.
And I did get the opportunity to really hear you guys speak about the idea of like 4C, 4A, 4D, whatever the case is, to like that's a like that facet of our thinking, of like frame of mindset. Yeah, great, right? Because that's not going to help anybody get to having well hydrated hair or
Right.
really good the texture that they want, right? Apart, like forget about that. So then, if we forget about that, what do we pivot to? What is more important when it comes to black hair and all the different ways that it could appear?
The
You want to
porosity.
get this? You can do this. You start.
So
I
the
am.
porosity, we don't want to get caught up in hair texture, and I think that when we go way back, this is how we've internalized a lot of self-hate and a lot of just self-destruction in a way, where we back in a while ago, and even still now, we're kind of battling the fact that the further removed you are from your blackness in certain features, the better it is, the more, preferred it is. So when we talk about a looser curl pattern, like the twos, the ones, even the threes, the bouncier curls, that's what was given to us when we wanted to be inclusive. When it's, oh, you have a curly haired doll, or oh, there's a black model in a shampoo commercial. It was the loose curls that many black women cannot relate to, okay? And so then we started to, obviously on the opposite end of the spectrum, kind of say it was unattractive, and kind of weaponize curlier textures and coiler kinks and stuff. And so now we say, oh, 4C is, it appears shorter because of the shrinkage, right? However, it could be long and healthy and beautiful. It's just very weaponized against us. So we don't really focus too much on the curl pattern, because to be frank with you, a lot of us don't even know where it's a mixture of, and we have all these different patterns in our own heads, right? So what we focus on is how porous our hair is, the porosity. And so does moisture, water, does it go in and out of the hair shaft easily? Are we able to properly moisturize our hair? Do we know how to? Are we educating on how to actually take care of our hair no matter what the texture is, right? And so that's what we do. We talk about testing the hair porosity so that you know what products to use and how to maintain what you have on your head.
Okay, and that's the different porosity. So what are the different porosity levels?
Go ahead.
Okay, so we have all the way from 1A to 3C.
No,
Oh,
not
4C.
porosity.
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 Porosity,
Oh,
not
porosity.
Yeah, different porosity. Let's take that whole idea of one of these.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
so
that-
what we have is high porosity,
Yeah.
medium porosity, and low porosity. And the main thing that I have personally found with those who are on the 4A to 4C and beyond spectrum is they have low porosity. But I've also found those who are within that spectrum to also have high porosity. my daughter being one of them. So it's so funny how you have all these different brands and labels that, market the porosity in which they cater towards. But the main thing is about finding your own porosity and what that means, how well moisture absorbs into your hair. And I definitely would like to make sure that everyone knows that regardless of your hair texture, it matters more so about the porosity. It matters about how much moisture your hair can retain, and if your hair needs help retaining that moisture, or if your hair needs help letting go of that moisture. Because as much as high porosity sometimes as is favorable in the porosity scale, at that same time it can't let go of moisture. So you got to be worrisome of fungal infections. You got to be worried about, sometimes not having the right amount of moisture in your hair to make sure that it thrives. So I definitely would highly recommend that everyone not figure out what their curl type is, but put the more so focus on their porosity. Once they understand how their hair works with moisture, they can understand what products are best for them. And yeah, that's my recommendation.
And that goes for the guys that are listening out there. That goes for us as well, because I learned about it from my beard, and my beard is how it is right now because I listened to what they said, right? So
Yeah.
and it did really help, and it's important the porosity
I
of
love
it,
that for
right?
you.
Thank you. I'm loving the new journey. Of
There
my
you
beard.
go, and
Right
it's
now.
something to get excited about,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
So,
Of course.
so then, how can we look at to test it, right? How is it? How do we test for the porosity in our hair?
Okay, so the best way to test for your porosity is we could send you a link to our website to show you how to do that. But however, the best thing to do is get a clear glass of water, take a strand out of your hair, one that has been recently shampooed and not conditioned, and you place that in your glass of water and you see where that floats. So if it floats on top of the water, you have a very low porosity situation. You got to work with heat to get moisture into your hair. If it's in a middle ground of the, let's say right here, of where the strand is laying, that means that you have the optimal porosity. That means you need to not even be testing your porosity because
Those are the best
every
ones. Black ones.
everything that you have
Yeah,
put into your
That's
hair
ideal.
has been working. That is ideal. You have been blessed. God loves you. Amen. But now, if your hair has sunk to the bottom of that glass, that means that you have high porosity, such as myself, which means you need to be very cautious about the way that you internally intake, not only intake porosity, but that you seal it in. So you're gonna want to use, oils, and you're gonna want to use different types of things like shea butter to lock that
Lock the
moisture
moisture
in.
in.
Okay, that is a lot.
It is. It is.
Because you really think that I'm gonna say we, that's me. Look at women that how they do so much, they put so much
Yeah.
into their appearance, but they have to take in all these considerations
Yeah.
of how it is to lock it in, how it is to style it, how it is to brush, how it is to swing this, what is the edges, what is this, what is that,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
All of that.
so the biggest thing that comes from all of that is all products.
I think it just takes it from product acknowledgement and
Yeah.
product education.
So then
Education, yeah.
let's
And-
tap in a little bit into that.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Like we're talking about the low porosity, we're talking about the high porosity, we're talking about
Right.
medium porosity, right?
Yeah.
I walk into the beauty store, it's confusing.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's stressful,
Right.
right? And I'm only going for stuff in my beard. Imagine that young lady who may not have had the opportunity
Yeah.
to grow up in a space where she had other person to tell her about it, and she's like, okay, let me go and try something, and she walks
She
into that
tripped and
store.
fell on something that actually worked for her.
If she's lucky,
If she's
right?
lucky,
She's
yeah.
lucky.
She's like 5%, right? Or
Yeah.
1%, 1%ers. So now, what do you tell that young woman who's going to walk into the store and say, you know what? I'm done putting chemicals into my
Right.
I'm done putting hair crap, hair cream
Yeah.
in my hair. Your creamy crap, they will call it. And I
Yeah.
listen, right? We're done looking at the creamy crap. We're done looking at all of that. We're now looking at the aspect of it being I want to go natural. I want to be natural. I want to be me. How do we do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to speak from my own experience first. Is that someone who is embarking on their own natural hair journey, not only for their own hair, but to also understand what chemicals work with their hair, not with their hair. If they're looking to eliminate chemicals, period, the best idea for them, for me, from my experience, would be to just go and tell ChatGPT. Tell ChatGPT, this is my hair type from what I've been experiencing, because we just gave you a lot of insight as to how you can experience if you have a low porosity, high porosity. Say I have a low porosity hair type. I don't want to use any more chemicals in my hair whatsoever. Tell me a holistic route and as to how I can get my hair to thrive and also have my hair styled without the pressure of outside influences. If they were to input that into their ChatGPT, we wouldn't need to have this conversation.
Well, you know how it is. Not
Well,
really going to do it. So.
Yeah, so I think that what you're saying is true, is that people get very overwhelmed. There's a lot out there, there's a lot of marketing, and it works, right? What I would say is you can keep it simple to start. So what we want to make sure is that we have a good moisture and protein balance. Finding a good moisturizer once you know your hair porosity could definitely help, because now you know what to look for. Even it can get so complicated as to ingredients matter. Okay, it gets very complex because there's so much out there, and there's a lot of garbage, to be honest. So there could be a lot of trial and error. So you want to make sure that you are sure. Let's start with looking at the ingredients, making sure that water is the first one. That is a moisturizer. It has some sort of moisture content in it. And then you can go down the list, and if you can read all the ingredients before it starts to get to stuff you can't pronounce, then we're off to a good start. But you can also even go so far as, what is your price range? If you can't spend $40 on just trying out a product, then you can start off smaller, maybe $5. You can even get stuff like we mentioned before. We've mentioned how you can get things at Dollarama, Walmart. So we do that in like workshops and stuff. We say, hey, like if you're on a budget, here are some products you can start with based off of your porosity level. And I think once you get a good moisture and protein balance, then you can start to get comfortable with knowing, okay, we're on a good journey here. At least I'm maintaining. Those are the basics to just maintain without styling, right? Because you want to style, you also want to keep your hair protected. So protective styles matter.
That's what we meant.
Right? It matters.
And how are we looking at, like, what are the protective styles? Like, what are some of these things that women should look out to really do? Because, like, I've heard it so many times in practice. Braids pull away at my edges.
Yeah.
They're not good. Like, I don't want to do my hair in cornrows or I don't want to do this because it's so hard. But, like, then you will see someone. And another thing saying that these are the protective styles to make sure when it's my twist out and this and that. But what are the protective styles that would be protected? Like, would actually protect the whole entirety of
right, from your scalp
all the way
down
to the strands.
Right.
What I will definitely say is, number one, making sure that you are working with a stylist that is texture competent. And I say that meaning that different textures require different type of products. So working with a stylist that is texture competent, they will also let you know, hey, this type of style that you're trying to do will only last you X amount of weeks until you need to switch it up. Because where your hair is at, you need it to be at here. And this is how we'll get you here. So for this recommendation is to make sure that you are working with a stylist that is not only working with your current style goals, but your future style goals. You want to make sure that they are in tuned with what you want going forward. Do you just want to have short hair that you always have braided? Or do you want to have flourishing hair? Do you want to have hair that is beyond your mid back and is reaching your tailbone and is somehow making you feel a certain type of way? Now, if that's what you want, then you're going to want to book with a certain stylist that is going to definitely recommend something that is going to be low tension, low weight, low product wise, as well as not making it so that when your hair has grown out from the cell they put it in, you need to manipulate it too much. So low manipulation styles are at our forefront. So the main thing that I would definitely say to those who are looking for flourishing hair is to understand what your porosity type is. B, understand what your plan is to get to your goal length or your goal. If it's not length, maybe it might be porosity. Maybe they just want bigger and fuller hair. And there's a lot of people who are experiencing hair loss because they are consistently doing back-to-back styles with a stylist that's not aware of what the hair goals are. And that's the main thing that I would definitely recommend, is making sure and ensuring that the stylist that you're working with is aware of your hair goals and that they can compel you to reach those hair goals.
I'm going to add on to what she said, because she said things that are really important, like low manipulation, low tension. When we're talking about braids, of course there are people who are saying, oh, it's too tight. But there are things that we've learned over time that don't work anymore, right? And that we're changing. So they'll say things against knotless braids, but it's like those are less tension on your scalp than knotted braids. And there's a language that goes along with this stuff too. It's all terminologies, right? But we've implemented things over time, learning what doesn't work. So when it's very tight, that's not a good thing. We don't want to pull on your scalp too much. That could cause traction alopecia, right? And so we want to avoid certain practices that people now know better than, right? So there was also like full heads of braids where you have I'm exaggerating, but like 200 braids on a head. I'm exaggerating, but what we want to do.
I could sit down through that, right? But
and they used to, right? And what we do now is we want to put equal amounts of our natural hair to the braided hair that we're adding in. So it's supposed to be not as heavy, and it should withstand the style without it weighing down and pulling out. So there's certain things that we're avoiding now.
So I have two questions. There's one question.
Yeah.
What are some signs that a person would have that would show healthy in comparison to an unhealthy scalp?
Oh, scalp. This is your expertise. Yeah, scalp.
Touch a little bit.
Yes.
Trichology.
The trichology.
Here we are. So there are a lot of things that would, indicate a healthy scalp, aside from one that is unhealthy. And one that would indicate is unhealthy is large amount of surface area between follicles that are healthy. From I see that, I know that something's going on in this area. And usually it tends to be within the mid area right here, which means it typically tends to be, traction, not just traction alopecia, but it tends to be an alopecia that is one that is known for its relevance until later on in life. So they call it male pattern baldness, but not only males experience this, females also experience this as well, where they have a lot less growing around the middle, and then it starts to extend. And when I notice that there's a client that is experiencing this, I not only mention like, hey, I'm noticing this within your hair braiding pattern trends. It's something you should look into. But also, I understand that this is something that is also genetic because a lot of people who are experiencing male pattern baldness, which is this people pattern baldness, they usually have a history of it in their timeline. Like their mom, their grandma, their great grandma. A lot of people have experienced this type of hair loss symptom. And the thing about hair loss is that you cannot completely stall it like forever. Like you're gonna retain whatever hair you have on your head, but you can do your best to stall it. You can do your best to stall it and do the most amount of recommendations to what that can be, shots in your brain or whatever you need to do to get PRP. Yeah, they could do whatever they can to try and resolve the issue you have going on, but it will never clearly resolve because it's something that is hereditary.
And so, for those that may be struggling with that, how do you, as hairstylists, then pivot to still allow them to be who they are? Like men, they have a little bit easier if you don't have like what is your head? Big head like mine, right? Right? We could just go bald and then go for it. Yeah, that's okay. But like for a woman who really sits down and a lot of her hair is a lot of her identity.
Right.
Right? You start to see that I've done this in the past. This has made me look my cutest. Like I've this. This is what my husband like. This is what persons see me as. This is a lot of it is their identity.
Yeah.
How do you approach that as a stylist?
So one thing that I've personally learned to approach people who are having male, female pattern baldness, and those who have an aggressive type of alopecia, one that is scarring. Because as a trichologist, we have non-scarring alopecia. We also have scarring alopecia. So those clients who I can witness and say, you have a scarring alopecia, the way I try to embrace them is to let the people you know around you who are your fundamental baseline of support to know what you have going on. So they do not equate your hair to your self-worth, because I'm already trying to separate that gap. Because when it comes to hair and follicles, that is something that is so absurd that a lot of people they can't conceptualize it. And so when trying to help them conceptualize it, I let them know, hey, this is something that is a part of you, but it's not a part of you, because you have so many other aspects of you that maintain so much value that your hair is literally at like the forefront. I know it's because it's an appearance barrier to protect you of what you have going on within underneath, but you know what, that just might mean that you need to be a little bit more vulnerable. And I start to prepare them for what is going to come. I let them know, hey, you have this scarring alopecia, and we can do as much as we can to, camouflage it, but at some point, it's not going to be camouflageable. And you're going to have to, embrace the change, and you're going to have to understand that this change is not defiance of who you are as a person. All the other aspects, that way that you have contributed to the world as a person, that matters so much more than your hair.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that this is why these conversations are so important, is because when we talk about hair and health, they go together more than we understand in our community specifically. We already have so many challenges when it comes to our hair, and how it makes us feel, and how people judge us, and how they look at us, and how we present in the world. And then to add on health in our hair, whether it be pregnancy, whether it be stressed out, whether it be hormonal, whether it be cancer, it could be so many different factors that affect how our hair grows. then we have this other issue now where we're stressed out about one thing, even if it's just genetic, right? We're worried about this one thing when it comes to our hair and how we show up every day as Black women with our hair, right? Is it appropriate for the office? Is it appropriate for this interview? And then we have now hair loss, right? Which would take a huge hit to a lot of people's self-esteem, right? And we do kind of push the men aside, but now we're seeing that there's a lot of men who are also very self-conscious of their hair loss because we're laughing at like hairlines being pushed back and all these other things. So men are running to Turkey to get transplants as well, right? And so we really want to have these conversations so that we can talk about just breaking down those stigmas and those pressures and those unnecessary stresses of our hair, because like Seisha said, we are not our hair, as India Irie said. Yeah, we're not our hair. We're so much more than that. And like obviously, you know, we all want to show up and feel and think that we're looking as beautiful as we can. You know, I wouldn't just come out with my hair just any type of way. So it matters, but then to what extent, right?
So I'm the only one that goes like months so okay, it's just me. But no, you're very right. The power in our crown is more than just here. Then it's not just, you know, the strand. It starts from the scalp.
Right.
Right. Ball
Right.
should be beautiful for both
Absolutely.
man and woman.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It should not be defined as to who that is, because at the end of the day, you're not marrying a hairdo. You're marrying
Exactly.
a person. Right? You're trying to create a lifestyle or a lifetime with that one person. So it's so important to think about that and really conceptualize that. Though society has put that blanket on us, especially us as Black people, and really would like to say that like you have to have straight hair, it must be this, it must be that. That's just a societal concept, right? It doesn't have to apply to us, and it's very important. I do have another question from the chat before I even go into the
Absolutely. Yes.
thoughts on red light therapy.
Sorry? Thoughts on red light therapy?
For coily hair people, not just for coily hair people, they're seeing a growth of straight hair, but if it's more difficult, it will be more difficult for it to get into thicker, more coarse hair.
Okay. Do you know about red light therapy?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I have been experienced and, you know, exposed to it through my endeavors when it comes to hair loss. One thing I learned about red light therapy is that it is very technical. Not everyone has the same results when it comes to red light therapy. When it comes to red light therapy, it means that you are willing to engage in something that may not have results for you. And at the same time, it's still an open-ender. It's still something for people to engage and embark on to see if it works for them. However, I have not, as of yet, and this is me being someone who is looking towards acquiring a machine that produces red light therapy. So I would like to be able to see and assess for myself what the red light therapy does, but there's also a blue light therapy on the other end of that. And I want to be able to test both of them and see what that does. But because I don't have that product here in Canada with us right now, because it is a $20,000 equipment that I need to.
Pardon?
Yeah. What I'm looking towards acquiring. Right? That's what I'm saying. A $20,000 to $40,000 equipment that is not been available in Canada yet. So I have to already kind of
ship it or something.
Not even about shipping it. I have to fight for the reason as to why they should ship it to Canada.
Okay. Wow.
And I'm working towards that. That's part of my mission right now, is working towards acquiring that machine. Once I have that machine, I can give a better overview as to. Yes, we will touch back, because I will get that machine. I am dead set on getting that machine. They have one in the US. They have 0 in Canada as of right now.
Wow.
So I'm trying to be number one who has that machine in Canada. And once I have it, I will let you. Here we go.
Yeah.
Once I have that machine, I can let you know as to the benefits of red light therapy because I feel like there are a lot of benefits when it comes to it, especially when it's in pairing with microneedling.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's, I feel like, a more advanced talk for our next show.
Oh, perfect. Sounds good. So, quick tips on do's and don'ts, right? Do's and don'ts when it comes to let's start with oils first, right?
Okay.
Instead of the do's and don'ts, right? We hear a lot about botana oil. We hear a lot
Right.
about all these different types of mixtures, what the carrier oils, what essential oils were, rosemary, peppermint,
Mhm.
mushroom,
Everything.
everything.
There's so much.
All right, but
Okay.
someone is about to say, okay, I need to put a lot of oils in my hair, right? I need to do that, right? We've established that porosity is important to figure out first,
Mhm.
right? But now we're talking about scalp, right, and growth. What are the do's and don'ts?
Can I
when it comes to
start
oils?
first?
Go
Okay.
I'm gonna start first. All right, cool. I want everyone on this podcast to take away from this podcast that oil is not a moisturizer.
Mhm.
It is not a moisturizer. It is a sealant.
Mhm.
So your best moisturizer or a carrier like water. Water your hair first before you put any type of oils into your hair before you see any type of result. That's the first and foremost thing that I want to get out of this podcast is oils are not a moisturizer.
No,
They are a sealant.
Yeah.
So you gotta get your moisture in there first and
Right.
you seal it in with your
You seal it with the
your
oil.
oils.
Yeah. So, like she said, it's important to know how to properly moisturize. The water always comes first. We'll do the LCO, LOC method. I like the LCO method. So I do the water first, and then conditioner or your preferred conditioner cream, and then go in with the oil to seal it. And so I like to talk about how when you expose water to air, eventually the water evaporates. Okay, so similarly with your hair, you put water in your hair. You can put the conditioner in your hair, but if you forget the oil and you go outside, it'll evaporate. So what we do is we keep that oil on top of the already moisturized hair to seal that moisture in and lock it in so that it doesn't evaporate or doesn't evaporate as much. Yeah, and then of course for the scalp sometimes. So the scalp produces natural oils. So we don't, depending on your needs. So some of us have, myself included, a drier scalp. And so I find that I do need to keep more on top of my oils for my scalp. I don't condition my scalp. But I oil my scalp a little bit more often. And that's okay if it's needed. But if you're somebody who has a naturally oily scalp, you don't want to oil your scalp every day. Or if you're somebody who has a more normal, I'd say, scalp where it's healthy, there's no severe dryness, then yeah, you might not need as much oils. So that's my take on the oils.
Can I just add on to that as well? Is if you are balancing back and forth as to what oils work in your hair and don't work in your hair, and you have a lot of product in your hair,
Right.
clarifying shampoo will help you kind of reset back to what your natural pH balance is. And that is the best recommendation when it comes to doing the LOC method, is making sure that you have the right pH balance in your hair.
Yeah. Right. So washing your hair.
So I guess that next time we're going to speak about the LC and LCO.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just liquid conditioner and oil.
Yeah, but there's obviously a science to it. I've seen you guys speak about it.
Yeah.
And I think it's great to take that in. So we want to talk about one of the do's and don'ts. So when it comes to straightening and perming, right? As a hairstylist, I'm against it because I know those chemicals can inflict a lot of different things that are not healthy for the body.
Yes.
Right? That's me personally as a provider, someone who has a scientific background in that. As a stylist, I've seen recently, I don't know, either last year, this year, a lot of natural hair influencers or enthusiasts went back to
they're perming their hair.
do's and don'ts.
Yeah, so so I agree with you in terms of anything that's going to chemically alter your natural state might not be, preferred or the best, and wouldn't necessarily champion for it. However, there are tons of people with very healthy, strong, chemically treated hair, and that's because they do a bunch of things. So, what I would say is every 3 months, every 4 months, the regular perming, it shouldn't be the case. If you do it, it should be max like twice a year, maybe once a year. Like you should try to go as far and few between your perms as possible. And then the other thing is constant maintenance and care. So you're going to treat your hair more than you ever would before. People who have like pretty healthy permed hair are on top of their treatments. They're doing deep conditioners, they're doing the trims, they're doing the hot oil treatments, they're also protective styling in between. And if you can't stay on top of all of that consistently, then you might not get the results that you think you're going to get, which might be that you're looking at a person with incredibly healthy, chemically treated hair. So you might be a little disappointed because it's going to take a lot to keep that integrity of the hair once it's chemically altered.
I see that you basically
Hit it on the park.
Yeah,
Right?
she hit it on the park.
So then, now we're coming up closer to the end of the show, right?
Yeah.
And let's just say part 1.
Okay.
Because we can talk about do's and don'ts of heat.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Do's and don'ts of washing, do's and don'ts of frying. There's so many things that we can, as I said, we don't just try to chip out this iceberg that is here,
Right.
and hair health, right? Yeah, I see. Unfortunately, would you like to take a little bit more
Yeah, I
water?
just got hiccups. I
It's the
tried.
excitement, right? Because
Yeah.
you're passionate.
I'm so excited.
Right?
Did you drink some water?
I did.
Okay. So, I always like to ask my guests, first off, when we're able to end. Sage from 20 years old, little girl who did not know that she was going to get into hair care, who was trying to find herself, and then Sia, who was growing up and did not even know that she would be here today. What do you tell that person, or someone aspiring to come into the same space that you guys go into now? What do you sit and say to them now if you have the opportunity?
I have to think about that.
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
not
go
sure.
first.
Yeah.
Okay, so a young Seja, and excuse my hiccups, I just gotta like hold. Yeah, okay.
You work through it, y'all.
Okay.
So for the young Seja, there we go. The young Seja, I would tell her honestly, I know this is not a field that you have, practice to be in, but it is one that will teach you a lot about yourself. And not only about yourself, but what your position within blackness is. And I feel like that has been the epitome of my experience thus far, is being able to not only identify myself as a multiracial person, but understanding how I fit in.
What do you tell the young Sia at that time?
I would say that if you know who you are, then you can go with the flow. I would say that so long as you have an anchor and you have a surety of yourself, and you know what your strengths are, what your interests are, stuff like that doesn't change, that will stay with you forever, then you can trust the process on where life is going to take you, because then you can make decisions with you centered to those decisions. So you could say, like, I didn't know this and that is going to happen, but what I did know was that I'm great at this, or what I'm great at, so it makes sense now. For example, I didn't know either that I was going to be here, but I knew that I could do hair. I knew that I wanted to be self-employed. I knew that, so if you take time to really learn about yourself, then whatever life brings you, you can work with it, you can pivot, and you can thrive. Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're very welcome.
It's always a pleasure to sit down and have a nice conversation with you. All right?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to having you guys back so we can speak a little bit more. We can touch with the expert today, and what you've told us is very empowering. And as I said, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for all that you're doing for the community as well. It's very, very much appreciated, and we will always circle back. We will circle back. So on this day today, guys, as we sit down and we call it to the end for our part one of Walla here, and talking with power in our crown. I would like to wish you guys a wonderful week and be safe out there. You've just tuned into Black Health Unfiltered. Next week, we're going to sit down with one of Canada's nominated 100 women to watch, Patrice Pisa. She is a occupational therapist and a very amazing woman. That's all I can say. Like, there's so many things I could read off of her bio right now to tell you, but you'll have to just tune in next week to find out more. So, with that being said, and signing out here, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dr. Akeem Stewart, and I'll see you next week. Same time, same place, same Black Health Unfiltered.
Bye. Thank you so much for having me.